Hello. Welcome everyone to our product stage. Yay for day 2 of Responsive Nonprofit Summit. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Kayla Schneider, and I have the privilege of leading our enablement and solutioning team here at Virtuous. I am joined by my amazing colleague, Cath. Want to give a little intro, Cath?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet all of you. My name is Cath. I'm a solutions engineer here at Virtuous. So I'll be leading today's session and really excited to kind of give you an overview of Virtuous.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here at this session. Doing a little overview of responsive fundraising in general. I'm sure you probably just heard Gabe talk about what does it look like to be a responsive nonprofit. But I do think it's really important for us to understand what does responsive fundraising mean at its core as well, because that's how our product is built. Our product is really built on the idea of being responsive in our fundraising methodology. And so I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about that to start with. And then Cath is going to go through our product demo. If you have any questions throughout, please feel free to put them in the chat. I would actually love to know where everybody's calling in from. So if you want to put that in the chat, that'd be great. And then I'm going to hop in and get started on kind of what is responsive fundraising. So I'm just going to show a quick slide or two so we can see that there. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do a little slideshow here. Perfect. So when we think about what is responsive fundraising, it really does start with this idea of being able to listen to who our donors are and our supporters are, understanding what they like, what they don't like, how they like to be communicated to, what's important to them, really having the ability to see what they care about, right? How do they want to be communicated with? How do they want to engage with us at that core? When we learn about that information there, and we take that and we understand, and listen to who they are, we want to then connect with them personally at scale. And we talk about this through automation. So Gabe talked about it a lot. He is my favorite quote, and I'm kind of mad about it, but that's okay. I'll let him slide on that. But how do we take your team from doing the menial work to the meaningful work? And that is really where automation comes in, allowing us to treat every donor how they want to be treated, right? How do we engage with them? How do we connect with them? And letting them know that we know who they are, what they care about, how they've engaged with us in the past. And we take that information, we want to then be able to use that deepened relationship to suggest the right ask at the right time. So how are we suggesting that? It could be a financial ask, right? We are in fundraising. We need to get asked for donations, but it could be asking and looking at generosity in that holistic sense, engaging with donors in different ways, not just asking for that checkbook, but maybe asking them to engage with us through social media or maybe community events. Really, how can they be an advocate on our behalf as well? And then we take all that information, we want to learn, understand what worked for our supporters, but also what's working and not working for us as a team. We continue to do that, and we continue that circle of responsive. And that allows us to do what we call dynamic campaigns, right? So allowing us to not have to do that one-to-many approach, but really having that personalized ask for each individual supporter and making sure it makes sense in their journey. It might be, having that recurring gift ask after they've given for years, or maybe it's asking for them to, as I mentioned, host a community event, right? What does it look like for us and how do we engage, making sure that we're doing that there as well? And so that's really the base of what responsive fundraising is. It's being able to listen to our donors, connect with them at scale, suggest that right ask, and then being able to learn. And you're going to hear Cath say those words a lot. You're going to see it in our product. You're going to understand what that is, because that is how our product is built. We really think about that kind of ideology as we think about how we're building our product. So yeah, Cath is going to kick us off in a demo. Please feel free to put, again, those questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring those. If we want to chat about them, I'll push them up to Cath and we can have a conversation. But just really excited for y'all to see Virtuous right now. So go ahead, Cath. Go for it.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Kayla. So as Kayla mentioned, we're really going to kind of draw back onto that idea of responsive fundraising throughout our demonstration. So if you hear those tenets a lot, just thank you, Kayla, for kind of giving us that framework. So I do want to start out kind of more with that donor experience first. So kind of understanding the different ways that you might have new donors coming into your organization. Probably a lot of ways that that's happening is through your online giving form. So whether it's a campaign that you've sent out directly to your supporters, or they're just coming in organically, clicking on your website for that first time and then landing on your donation page. I'm just going to show you a few different options of fundraising pages that you can build out with Virtuous. So first thing to highlight is that you can build out either embedded forms or standalone pages. And what I'm showing right now is our Raise Donors platform. This is a Virtuous product fully integrated with our CRM. But here I have an example of that fully built out form. As you can see, I have great images being pulled in. I can easily add in some different text blocks. And this page is really branded to my organization. If you have a standalone page, one thing to highlight is that you will be able to white label this URL. So either way, it's never feeling like anyone is leaving your website. And then a few things specifically about this donation page that I like to highlight. So first off, here we have what we call a Smart Ask array. So we actually have a small piece of code within Virtuous that you can add into your website. And that's going to allow you to track who's on your website, what they're looking at, and how long they're looking at it for. But more specifically for your giving pages, this is actually creating a connection between your donation page and that person's contact record within Virtuous. So that's going to allow you to pull over their past giving history and have this ask array update based on who is actually on your donation page. So what does this look like in practice? Maybe I'm a brand new donor that I've never donated to your organization in the past. It might make sense to have your donation form start out at more of that $10 or $25 donation level, really making sure that this is approachable for anyone that lands on your page. On the flip side, though, maybe Kayla is donating $500 to your nonprofit every time that she comes onto your website. With that information that we're pulling in, we can actually say, okay, let's start out this gift array closer to that $500 mark and move up from there. So really making sure that we are capturing that full value from everyone that is landing on your donation forms. When we see those gift arrays enabled, we see about a 30% lift in average gift size. So really effective at making sure that we are encouraging people to really give at or beyond their current capacity. Another great thing about this form that I love is that we also have the ability to add in some recurring gift nudges. So let's say I come on here, I'm selecting a one-time gift. Your team can add in an option to say, okay, are you sure that you don't want to become a monthly donor? So really encouraging if you're trying to roll out that sustaining giving campaign, a great way to really encourage people to make their gift go further. And then when it comes to actually checking out on a donation page, what we really want to make sure of is this is accessible for everyone that is on your organization's page. So making sure whether I'm checking out on my phone or my laptop, or if I'm out and about, that there are options for ways to check out. So you can offer your donors the ability to check out with credit card, ACH bank transfers, also Google Pay, Apple Pay, Venmo, and PayPal. So making sure that people are never abandoning cart, we're really removing all of those friction points and ensuring that it's an easy process to continue on with this donation. You can also always have donors cover those processing fees. So with a click of a button, I'm making that donation go further. I just have a couple other quick examples that I want to highlight here. So in this example, we have more of that kind of project format. So your organization could actually add in different cards like this organization is doing. And maybe you're including images for different initiatives that you're fundraising for, as well as including some text about what this donation could specifically support. As a donor, I can come in here, I can select multiple different initiatives at once, and then kind of creating that shopping cart feature so I can have all of that checked out in one process. On this form, I like to, This form, I like to highlight kind of that thermometer. So if you have a set fundraising goal that you're fundraising towards, having that ability to give more kind of visibility to your donors of how close you are to hitting that goal. I think it's also really kind of satisfying as a donor when you make a donation and you see this progress bar actually increase. It kind of helps you to see really your impact on the organization. So a really effective way at helping people to want to get involved. And then just two more quick examples. These are as customizable as you would like. We also have templates out of the box that you can use as a starting place. But I like to show how you can also have that pop-up version. Here you can see that I'm adding in some text about kind of impact information. So before I even get to that checkout page as a donor, I can start to envision, okay, maybe I was planning to give at that $25 range, but when I see, okay, $100 actually could cover the cost of an adoption event, maybe I'm more inclined to donate that larger amount. You can also add in those different recurring frequencies, have a drop-down menu for different projects or initiatives that you're fundraising for. And then I like here how we have both those images and descriptions of what this money is going towards. And last but not least, also having that option to even add in premium. So when a donor checks out, if they give a $5 or $10 donation, is there ever an instance where you want them to get a small gift in return? So having that ability to really make this a customized experience for your donors. One other thing to quickly highlight about kind of that giving experience, as a donor, when I convert on one of these forms, I will get an email to create a login to a donor portal. So then I can actually come in here and I can manage my information myself. I can come in to modify my recurring gifts. So maybe I want to change this to a quarterly donation versus monthly, or update my credit card information. I can do that, as well as see my past giving history or resend a confirmation to myself. So really making this more accessible for your donors, but also freeing up some time for your team as well that you might be spending on maybe like these one-off requests for a donation receipt that you've already sent. So giving your donors that ability to come back in here and access that themselves. Okay. So kind of the donor experience. Now I'm going to jump back into the back end of Virtuous and walk through what happens now that we have these new donors in our fold. How do we actually process these gifts? So all of that information is going to come in through this gift and contact import tool. All data coming into Virtuous comes in through this same place. So that will include those gifts that are given online. Those are bundled nightly for you. Also, to quickly mention, if you have major giving days like Giving Tuesday, you can choose to push those over more often. But those gifts will come in through here. Also, any CSV files that you're processing, any like batch entry that you're doing for checks, also anyone that is coming in through a form. So a volunteer form, a membership form, we have all different types that you can add into your website. We kind of joke about the gift and contact import tool being like customs at the airport. So it's a really great place to make sure that we have checks and balances in place to make sure that data is going to the right place that first time around. So Virtuous has a lot of automation built into our system. And with a system that really operates on automation, it's so crucial to make sure that your data is clean, accurate, and healthy. We don't want data to be going to the wrong place or to accidentally be creating duplicate records and then have an instance where you start prospecting someone as a new donor only to find out that they're actually a major donor. So making sure that we are checking all of that information and mapping it accordingly. So I want to walk through an example of what kind of happens here when I am processing one of those new gift files. So what we're doing is essentially whenever we have information coming in, we are running a number of different checks to make sure that we're mapping that data accurately. So we're checking for duplicates on that person's name, their email address, their physical address, and also their phone number. So not only having that one unique identifier that we look for duplicates with, really making sure that we're looking at that full picture. So once that information comes in, we're running these checks. And then what's happening is we are placing every contact or new gift into one of three different buckets. So here at the bottom, you'll see that I have match needed, update needed, and then ready for import. Our ultimate goal is to get everything over to this ready for import bucket. But that first time around, what's going to happen is this is going to be kind of that low-hanging fruit. So gifts or contacts that are 100% matched to an existing record within Virtuous, they'll come into this ready for import bucket automatically. These are good to go. I don't need to spend any time here. These two buckets, though, will require a little bit of that human interaction just to make sure that we are mapping that data to the right place. So what might get caught in match needed? A few different examples here. So it could be brand new people. So we're checking, okay, Katie, based off the information that she gave, does not match any information in our system. She is a brand new donor. I can come in directly from here and create a new contact record for Katie. I can also do that in mass. So if you have a lot of brand new donors that come in, I don't have to go through one by one and create a record. This is also nice because I can process the gift and create the new contact record from one place. I'm not having to jump into a different part and create that contact record first and then come back here. I can do all of this in one step. Another example of information that might come in through match needed. Let's just say that you have 3 different John Smiths within your kind of network of supporters, and they all live in New York. If a gift comes in from a John Smith in New York, but they didn't really include other information that we can accurately, or the system can say, 100%, I'm confident this is John Smith A, we might just have that kind of too much overlap of information where there's a human element. You'll come in here and determine which person is this. And then that last bucket of information is update needed. So this is when the majority of information is matching to an existing record, but maybe there's 1 or 2 pieces of data that are new or different from what we have in the system currently. So some examples of what might happen there. Let's say that this person is giving with a different email address than they typically do. So Sam, typically he donates with his Gmail. Today, he decided to give you his Yahoo information. We're still catching this as the same person based off of his address and other information. I can come in here and say, okay, do I want to ignore this, add it to Sam's record, or update it to the primary contact information? Another example might be if someone is donating with a nickname. So my full name is Catherine. When I fill out forms, sometimes I write Cath, sometimes I write Catherine. We want to make sure that we're still capturing that as one person. So here we have Amanda and Mandy. We don't want to accidentally create a brand new record for Amanda Butler and start prospecting her like that new donor, and then find out that Ray and Mandy are actually major donors. Just not going to be great for the relationship. So making sure we're catching all of that and then giving you the option of, okay, do you want to ignore this or update their information? And then the last example of why this information might be kind of captured in our update needed bucket, we use what we call a natural state of householding here at Virtuous. So I'll walk through that in a moment on our contact record. But essentially that means that like Ray and Mandy together, they have one contact record. So here, based off of this address, we are recognizing that, okay, maybe it's Tony's first time giving a gift, but we believe that he's likely a part of Miss Kathy Price's household. Instead of creating a brand new contact record, do you want to add Tony to that existing record? So once you decide what to do with this information, these will all move over to that ready for import bucket. This button in the right-hand corner is going to light up. I hit import, and then now all of that data is mapped to the right place within Virtuous. I'm 100% confident that all of that is accurate. We're not creating duplicates. And then I can still create automations off of this data because it's clean and healthy. Okay, so now all of that data is in your system. Maybe we've created some new contact records. I'm going to walk through next what an example of a contact record looks like. Okay, sorry, my Wi-Fi is a little bit slow today. Let's see if we can get this. Oh, there we go. Okay. Bear with me for a moment. Kayla, anything to add about kind of that gifting contact import while we wait a second here? There we go.
I could get my video back up. That'd be great too, huh? Yeah, I think the most important thing when we think about like how data gets into the system is it is, the base of responsive fundraising. The most important thing is having good, clean, healthy data, right? And so when we think about the maturity model, I'm not sure if anybody went to that session last time, but really how do we think about how do we engage with our supporters? The first step in that is having good data and having access to that data. And so that all starts with how the data really comes into the system cleanly and effectively, and making sure that we can kind of get that up and running there. So I think it's really important how the data comes in. We want to get it to the right place the first time so that we are being able to steward our donors appropriately as we kind of move forward there as well. A couple of other things, if we think about just that idea of like the responsive maturity model in general, it goes back to what Gabe was saying previously as well, is that those like integrated teams, right? We all want to see that data in one place. There's so much data coming in from everywhere that really having the ability to make sure that it comes in cleanly that very first time. Like you can't access all that data in different ways without it really being clean, right? I could have 27 people, a volunteer, a program participant, a giver, right? And they're all in these different areas, but making sure that when we get it in, we're appropriately managing that data to come through as well. Perfect.
Okay, sorry, very slow today.
Let's see. Gotta love technical difficulties on the computer. It's gonna be great. Any questions so far, y'all, as we kind of figure this out? Any questions as we think through what responsive fundraising kind of looks like, or anything specific as Cath if we think about like in general, you've heard a lot about Virtuous today and yesterday, things you want to make sure that you see or are interested in that we can kind of call out today as well. I am seeing some different things. I don't know, Cath, did you want me to share?
Yeah, I can. Okay, there we go.
Great.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay.
You're good. No worries.
Sorry, everyone. Just a little bit slow today. Okay, so this is an example of a contact record. So as I mentioned, we kind of use that natural state of householding. So as you can see here, Ray and Mandy together, they're a household. Out of the box, that can be one of 3 standard types. So you can also create an organization or a foundation. And then you can also have that ability to create subtypes. So if your organization works with a lot of hospitals or a lot of different universities or schools, you can create a custom contact type for that as well. So together here, Ray and Mandy, they have a unique identifier. Also at that individual level, Ray and Mandy each have their own unique IDs. So why do we kind of use this structure? We're giving you kind of that best of both worlds. So on one hand, easy consolidation of information. So details like the giving information, all of that's being bubbled up to one place. I don't have to worry about self-crediting Ray when Mandy makes a gift or vice versa. All of that's being bubbled up to one place. And I also have this activity feed of everything that's happening with Ray and Mandy. So I don't have to jump between different records and kind of compare information. All of that's being stored in one place. At that individual level, though, we want to make sure that you're not losing any personalization. So I can still track information on Ray and Mandy separately. They're different people. They have different ties to your organization. And I still want to be able to come in here and see, okay, is it Ray that's actually coming to our events or volunteering? So you can still track that information on an individual level. Some other things to highlight, we do have the option for you to add in custom fields. So for any data that's really specific to your organization, I can easily add in a custom field at that contact level or also at that individual level. So some examples here, maybe tracking information like the languages spoken or alumni details, or maybe even drilling into, okay, what area does Ray want to help out with in regards to volunteering? All of these fields will be queryable as well, so you can still pull information off of custom fields. They're also available as merge tags in our marketing tool, so I can easily pull that information in and really quickly personalize my outreach. You also have that option of custom collections. So if you have data that has more than one field associated with it, it might make more sense to store that as a custom collection. For example, something like a board membership. So being able to track information on who was on your board at X date, what committee were they on, what position did they hold. I'm never having to override information. So a lot of times in other systems, there's not really a good place for this sort of data to live. But here I can come in, I can have multiple entries, and I can go back in time and say, okay, who was a board member between X dates? So having the history of that data. Okay. When it comes to kind of segmentation, I know for nonprofits, that's a huge part of what we're trying to do, right? We want to make sure that we're not just sending our entire audience one message, we really want to make sure that we are able to segment out our different messaging and our different audiences. So the best way to do segmentation within Virtuous is through what we call tags. So with tags, you can easily really add these one-off. You can do it in bulk through a query or also through that use of automation. So here I have some different examples of, okay, maybe just mentioning that this person doesn't want any direct mail, maybe notating that they're a volunteer, or it could be breaking out different kind of giving societies. I can use that automation to say, okay, when Ray and Mandy hit that mark of donating $50,000 life to date, I want to automatically delete this 10,000 club tag, update it to a 50,000 club tag, and maybe I also assign out a task to Kayla or my executive director to call this donor. So really letting that system do some of our segmentation for us. A few ways, a big thing to kind of highlight about Virtuous is that we don't just want to be a place where you store your data. We really always want to make sure that your data is actionable. So one way that we help to do that is really by enriching a lot of that information. So here, some different areas of how we enrich that. We do have a native integration built with donor search. So I can actually come in here and run a donor screening directly from a contact record. I'm not having to build out that list and export it and then re-import that data once I receive it back from our wealth screening tool. I can do all of that directly within Virtuous. So if I click in here, I'm seeing some of those additional details. So information like their estimated capacity range, maybe understanding, do they live in an area that has that higher affluency? Or maybe drilling down into donors that have an affinity to give towards programs that are similar to ours. So if I'm a higher ed organization and maybe to date, Ray and Mandy haven't been major donors for our organization, but I want to run a screening and say, let's look at all the people that have an affinity to give towards higher education. This might help you to identify those kind of key prospects that you can reach out to and build a relationship with. So having some great information here that I can use engaging with Ray and Mandy or use to build out some queries and automation. A few other ways that we really help to enrich that information. We do have that web history tracking. So when I mentioned on our gift pages earlier, it's that small piece of code that I can actually add to really see who's on my website, what they're looking at, and how long they're looking at it for. So for instance, here, actually being able to see those details and then use this information as you engage with Ray and Mandy. So maybe you notice that they keep reading up on one of your specific campaigns that you're fundraising for, or they keep reading up on your planned giving page, but they haven't actually put your organization in their will yet. This might kind of be those signals that I can listen into to really better connect with this individual or contact and understand what they're interested in. And then last but not least, we also have that social insight information. So I actually didn't talk about this yet. So we have these different Virtuous scores that are being assigned to every record within your system. What we're doing here is we're looking at some different pieces of data and running algorithms to assign individual scores that you can then use to really identify people that we should be reaching out to today or within the next week or month. So with this financial score, we're looking at 3 pieces of data. We're looking at the recency, the frequency, and the amount of giving that Ray and Mandy have given to our nonprofit organization. So with that, we are assigning them that score of 1 to 99 and saying, okay, great. Ray and Mandy are primed and ready for another financial ask. And then pulling in that past giving history and combining it with that capacity information from donor search. We're even giving you that suggested financial ask. So really giving you kind of those suggestions of how do we make sure we're always giving that right suggestion to every single person that we are communicating with. On the flip side, we also really recognize that you don't always want to be reaching out for a donation. So we're also giving this social score as well. That's looking at 3 pieces of information. So first off, these social insights. It's pulling in publicly available data. So things like their LinkedIn profiles, how many followers they have. It's pulling in all of that great data. combining it with the relationships that Ray and Mandy have within Virtuous, and then the density of the donor population in this area. So do you have a lot of other donors in San Diego? So with that, we're giving them a score of 1 to 99. And this is letting you know, okay, maybe they could be social ambassadors. This might be a good contact or individual to reach out to say, will you post about our events on social media? Or maybe you come volunteer at our upcoming event. So making sure that you're getting individuals or contacts more engaged with your organization, not always just asking for that financial donation. Okay. And then now we've listened in, we have that suggestion on what we want to kind of ask for. How do we actually connect with these donors? We do have that marketing engine fully built into Virtuous. So I can come in from here and I can send an SMS text directly from a contact record. I could also come in here and say, okay, I want to send out an email to Ray. I can build out those templates ahead of time and pull in different merge tags. So this is being customized for me without me having to spend any kind of manual time and effort here. And then we will track back that initial email as well as any follow-up emails to a contact record. So you're never having to like copy and paste that information back into your system. We do have that full marketing engine, as I mentioned, so you can also use this to kind of communicate in more of that mass manner. I'll be walking through automations next. We won't necessarily be diving too far into marketing today, but if that is something you're interested in learning more about, definitely happy to walk through that with anyone that might be on this call. But let's jump into automation next, and then we'll go through some reporting within Virtuous. So let's jump into this. With automation, we kind of have two different types within Virtuous. So on one hand, we have internal automation. That's really going to help your team to do things like adding and removing tags, updating custom fields, or assigning out maybe a task reminder to either yourself or to a teammate. You can also use this to actually externally communicate with your supporters. So with that marketing engine, I can schedule out emails, text messages, or physical letters and postcards that could be sent on your behalf. With every part of Virtuous, we have a lot of best practices really baked in here. So our intent is really, we want you to be able to get in here from day one and hit the ground running. So you can see here, I have 9 templates to really get started. This is really allowing me to kind of have that actual workflow already built out. The emails, the writing prompts, the tags, all of that is built out for you. And then you can customize it as much or as little as you would like, but you can change and move steps around, really have that starting place here. And our intent with automation is really to help organizations kind of achieve three main goals. So first off, we really want to make sure that we're helping you to decrease your time to acknowledgement. So after someone comes on your donation pages and makes a donation, or after they volunteer or come to an event, how long does it take you to follow up with that person? Let's make sure we decrease that time. We also really want to make sure that we can help you to increase that personalization at scale, and then really helping you to decrease the amount of staff time that you're spending on a lot of these more administrative type tasks. So we see about a 20% decrease in staff time when automation is really enabled. So giving your team a lot of time back in your day to focus that on actually engaging with your donors or kind of focusing more on those high value activities. But I just want to walk through a couple quick examples so that in theory, we can talk about automation, but I think it's always helpful to see that visual of how does this actually work. So first, I'm going to walk through an example of just an internal automation. And what we're doing is we're letting the system kind of run our segmentation for us. So here, I'm coming in and I have 4 different steps that are set up. Each of these steps are being powered by either a filter or a query. You can use our best practices that have some of this built out for you, or you can choose how you want to identify, for instance, an entry-level donor versus a major donor. That looks different for every organization. So maybe a major donor to you means $10,000. To a different organization, that might be someone donating over $100,000. So I'm determining that criteria. And then what's happening here is we are just adding and removing tags. So as someone makes another donation that really pushes them over that threshold from entry to mid-level donor, we're removing that tag, and we're also making sure that we're updating it to the current segmentation. I can now use this to do my sort of outreach. So every single day, this is running for you. I don't have to come in here manually, build up my list, and add and remove tags. I can let the system keep this up to date for me. A couple other examples. I want to show one that's kind of a mixture of that internal and external automation. So I like to showcase kind of this new donor welcome series, because this is really one that a lot of our customers get started out with. As you can tell with automation, this is potentially very robust, so you can make this as kind of intricate as you would like. But we kind of recommend like get started with a few simple steps, and then you can build out from there as you get more comfortable. So here, what we're really focusing in on is making sure that all of those donors that we've worked so hard to acquire, let's make sure that we are retaining them. Because industry-wide, there's about a 76% attrition rate after someone makes a first-time gift to your organization. So how do we make sure that we are not letting those people that already came in once and donated, not letting them slip through the cracks? And that's really what we're trying to capture here, really capture that audience. So again, I have those different steps with queries that are determining who falls into this workflow. And then I just want to walk through kind of the different actions that you can have an automation power. So here we're running some of those internal automations. So we're adding a tag. We're also adding a tag of a first-time donor and letting everyone in our system know that this person is also going through that new donor welcome series. Within our marketing tool, it's really easy to also say, okay, this is a brand new person. They just came into our organization for the first time. Maybe we don't want them to get bombarded by our events team or our marketing team. So while they're in this new donor welcome series, let's exclude them from everything else. So I can just exclude this tag. Great. We know that they're getting kind of that catered experience and not getting multiple messages every single day. I can also come in here, I can run that well screening directly. So maybe I'm trying to identify people that this person could have come in on a form and donated $25, but then I find out from that well screening, they actually have a capacity to give at a higher level. That might be information that I want to know and could create an automation off of. Then I'm coming in here and I'm kind of taking on that different multi-channel approach. So making sure that you're connecting with your supporters in the ways that they like to be communicated with. So I can send out that email and an SMS text. Both of these could have merge tags that are being pulled in. So it's still that personalized email, but I don't have to spend any manual time kind of typing this out. Then maybe I'm getting a notification to pick up the phone and call this donor to thank them. I could send them that physical postcard in the mail. And then last but not least, making sure that all of your data is clean and up to date. So we're removing that tag at the end of this series. So I know this can look like a lot, right? We have 12 different actions that are running. What I really want to highlight here is that the only thing that would require any sort of manual staff time is calling this donor. All of these other actions are running in the background for you. So really making sure that I can focus on those high value activities and free up some other time for my team. And then specifically in this automation example, what we're trying to do is get someone to come in and give that second gift. So you can see I have another step running here. Once someone makes that second gift, we will pull them out of this previous step. We'll send them an email and we'll remove that first-time donor tag. So really ensuring that we're achieving those kind of main goals of we're decreasing that time to acknowledgement. This is being triggered that next day as soon as I make that donation. That can happen. We're really freeing up staff time, and we're also making sure that all of your data is clean and healthy. So a lot of power with automation. Definitely can walk through some other examples, but I know we have about 5 minutes left. So I did want to jump into kind of reporting. I'll keep this pretty high level because there's a lot that you can do with reporting, but just want to show you kind of the different ways that Virtuous can help you to give insight, help give you insights into kind of your data here. So When we think about reporting, we kind of think about this in 4 different layers. First layer is going to be what we call widgets. So here I am on my dashboard. This is kind of my home page. And I have some different examples here of widgets that you can pull in. As you can see, I can easily come in here and I can update kind of that date filter. I have that visual representation. And these widgets are out of the box. So I have over 25 widgets here. It's broken down into different categories. So I can say, am I looking for project information or marketing information? I can also pull in some custom reports to our widgets here. So great options out of the box. These are great because I can filter on the date, but other than that, a little bit more limited in the customization. So that's next where standard reports come in. So standard reports also come out of the box. We are really giving you that ability to see information that a lot of other nonprofits are asking to see as well. So I can come in here and say, okay, I want to pull information on new donors or maybe major donors, but I'm able to actually set up the parameters here. So to our organization, what does a major donor mean? Maybe it's $10,000. I can run this report, and now I am going to see the results of that standard report. I can download this information and then take action on those details. So that's kind of the 2 levels of reporting. Our third level is going to be where you really start to get a little bit more customized. So in our query builder, this is going to allow you to really have that flexibility to pull really specific details for your organization. As you saw in automation, we have those best practices baked in. So I can easily come in here and choose from those queries that are already built out for me. For instance, maybe I'm just looking for a list of kind of our almost low-hanging fruit. I want to see our LIBUNT information. Here, we already have that query built out for you, but you can choose to add in some additional criteria. So here we have an and statement. These 2 criteria are being blocked together. I also can say I want to include a separate subset of information. I can add in those or statements, but really you can get really into the details here. But I'm clicking view results, and then I'm getting the results of that query. I can select this information and take action directly from here. So maybe you want to add a tag to all of these contacts. Maybe you're just saying, okay, LIBUNT. I can also come in here and say, let's invite all of these people to an event. So you can really, a lot of times when you're trying to build out those different lists or queries, I'm building it out with a specific intent of taking action. I can do all of that directly from here. Okay. And then I know we have 3 minutes left, so this is going to be a very high level kind of 360 view. Kayla is going to be doing a deeper dive into this tomorrow, but we do have a brand new enterprise grade reporting tool called Virtuous BI. And this is going to be where you can get really specific in the data that you're pulling and have those great visualizations. So this is going to be super high level, as I mentioned, but just to show you, we have 11 dashboards that come out of the box. And this is going to give you a lot of great insights into your current data and also allow you to come in here and add in some different filters or queries. Different filters here. And then I can also build out my own reports from scratch with this BI tool. But I just want to show you kind of one quick example of the dashboards that our team has really worked to build out. As you can see, I have some great information here. I can see information like average gift size, giving month over month. I can see a breakdown of giving by channel. So a lot of key information here that I can use to kind of gain those insights, analyze my information, and then learn how I want to take action on that data. So that's where I'm going to stop for today. Kayla will be doing a full deep dive into BI. So if this is something you're interested in, definitely encourage you to join that session tomorrow. But Kayla, I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on anything else before we wrap up.
Yeah, great job, Cath. Thanks for taking us through the platform. There's a lot more that y'all didn't see, honestly. There's a ton. So if this was piqued your interest, we would love to have like a personalized conversation with you as well. So if you wanted to kind of get a personalized demo, you could go to virtuous.org/demo and fill out that, and maybe you'll get Cath to give you a demo, or somebody else from our team will be able to kind of walk through and talk about your specific use cases and your needs there as well. Thank you, Cath, for walking through this the demo today. If you want to join us for any more sessions here on the product stage today, we're going to be talking about how to use Virtuous to kind of enhance your donor retention. But also, how do we break down silos between teams within that CRM as well? And so come on back and see those if you would like. And then also, as Cath mentioned, tomorrow, I'll be doing a deep dive into our newest products, which is going to be BI, and then our new Raise Donors tool, the newest version of that, our giving tool online. So really great having you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of RNS today and tomorrow. So many good topics, so many great speakers. So please take it all in and really just, get exactly what you need from this. So thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you in a later session. Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.